space. Welcome to my Halloween video. So this one's from the archives. This is one I did last year but didn't get around to editing. I haven't actually done any Halloween craft today. Halloween craft this year yet. October's just been mad. Busy with a couple of work events and our local agricultural show that Alexis and I enter every year. And I'll show you those entries in the next few weeks when I do some little videos of them. So today I'm making, this is what I actually entered last year in our local agricultural show as well. So you can submit scrapbooking canvases. There's loads of different crafts, sewing and all sorts of stuff. So I'm working on 3 small canvases because I believe that was the section this one was for. So I decided to play with my Oxide inks and dyes and make some little canvases. So I'm just giving the canvases a second coat of gesso. I found working with oxides, they sometimes react a bit better with water when they are on like a non-porous surface, like a gessoed surface. And although these little canvases do come pre-gessoed, all canvases that you buy commercially are traditionally covered in gesso, but sometimes I just like to give them a second coat as well, especially if they've been sitting around for a while. I usually give them a good clean with a damp cloth, and then I give them a good coat of gesso. So these canvases are quite small. Are they 6x6? They could be 6x6. Not sure, and I'm not sure where I've actually put the canvases from last year. They are somewhere. Had a big rearrange of my craft space and packed a lot of stuff in boxes to move it out of that room and move into another room, and well, yeah, I haven't unpacked everything yet. So using a variety of different branded dyes, not sure, couldn't tell you what brands are what. So I'm just die cutting out of some offcuts of black paper. Now it's not photocopy paper, it's not cardstock, it's a little thicker. I believe it's about like 120 GSM or something like that. I wanted it to be very flat to stick on the canvases. So I did all my die cuts in black because I wanted them to be like shadowy, like in shadow. I probably could have cut all this die cutting out, shouldn't I? Oh well. Using my, how old would my Cuttlebug be? Oh, at least 12 to 14 years old, somewhere around that, probably 13 years old. So it's still going strong. I do have a magnetic platform for it now, which helps me a lot. Didn't like my die cutter a lot until I got the magnetic platform, especially when I'm die cutting and stamping. It's a bit of a pain to line things up, and I'm not the most impatient person, but I do like my magnetic platform I got from Spotlight for this particular die. I probably need to pick up another one next time it's on sale because I do cut into it, and it is getting a workout lately. So just die cut all the dies to get enough. I sort of had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I just sort of did a bunch of extra ones, and then I've got them on hand to use in my art journal or on cards or whatever I like. So a lot of the steel rule dies can cut a variety of other stuff as well. Like this is really thin paper, they can cut cardstock. I've cut foam out of them as well, which, ooh, I might have that video around, or I might have put it up, can't remember. I have to go looking for that. I did make some of these into foam stamps, which is really cool. I love this cauldron, it's so cute. Cauldron and the bubbles. So I was trying to make a scene on each of the 3 little canvases, so they sort of went together but weren't exactly the same. Die cut part's nearly finished, most boring bit. I do apologise. And while we're just looking at that, if you do hear some noise in the background, some scratching or some movement, yes, we have 2 house guests at the moment. We have 2 little fluffy bunnies I got for Alexis, and they're in the corner of the lounge room in their run. They have a cage, and then they have a bigger run, and they're in the run at the moment. They're being fairly quiet, but they do have a cardboard box that they do like to rip to shreds and chew on and do all sorts of fun things with it, especially when I go to do a voiceover. I think they think that I'm talking to them, so they decide to make a lot of noise. But it's their quiet time. Alexis is going to make some videos and introduce them to the channel one day. They're fairly new, and we're just trying to get their cages set up, which works. I do have to alter their main cage because, yeah, well, it's not really working at the moment. So here I'm just playing with placement, I can't talk today, placement of my die cut pieces before I go and do any of my colourings, because when I know sort of what I'm going to stick there, that'll dictate what sort of colours I do with my oxides. I sort of wasn't completely sold on my oxides until I started using my black paper, and I'm using them a bit more. So there you can see that our frame actually cut into the bit of paper, so it's not a solid die cut. I believe it did come with a circle, or I have a circle I can cut it out as a frame, but I just cut out the tree branch with the owl on it to use. So I do that a lot. I tend to do that a lot with die cuts or chipboard, or especially with my chipboard. I make a certain design, and then when I go to use it, I cut it up as well. So that's a great tip with your die cuts. If you've got a shape that's not quite working, but you can alter it or cut it down or cut a little piece off of it, and that's that spider as well. I end up cutting the spider off, and I don't know whether I stick the spider back on, but it just wasn't working, so they're really easy to snip bits off. So I've sort of got a scene happening. I sort of wanted to have a foreground and a middle ground, and then sort of things up in the sky. I could fiddle at this stage for hours. Did not like the cat on the lady's back. I believe I put the cat down the bottom or somewhere else, or maybe I put it to the fence. I don't know. As I said, I can't find these final pieces, so I can't really remember what they look like. They did look really cute. Oh, maybe I put it on a fence. I tend to lay all my pieces out like this. I'm not a stick and go person. I admire Quill on YouTube, which is a fellow Aussie, Adele, and she starts a scrapbook page or a project and just starts sticking from day dot, and the first thing she picks up she sticks down, and then sticks down more stuff. I tend to can't do that. I have to lay it out first with all these pieces so none of these black bits are stuck down, and play around my positioning. Usually I'll snap a photo of them on my smartphone so I can sort of remember the positioning if I'm going to take everything off and add colour like I'm going to do with this one. They never go back perfectly. The owl needed a tree branch, so I just cut another one of those owls that I used up the top and cut the owl off and just used the tree. I love that owl die. That is gorgeous. I want to play around with him a little bit more one day when I get hours in my day. If someone could put 48 hours in my day, I'd be super duper happy lately, because I just don't have enough time. So here we go to add the Oxide inks. So I wanted to add sort of do a scene, so I didn't want a complete coverage on the back. So here this is sort of a grassy, mountainy for the gravestones to sit on, and then the owl to sit on, sort of trying to do a moon and trying to make it a bit interesting in the background, not just flat colours. What I may do next time is actually experiment with working over black gesso with the oxides, because they stand out, especially the lighter colours, really well on the black, and I love the effect of when you hit the water with the black behind it. So I'm really excited to do something like that. Had all these plans of doing loads of things for Halloween this year, and as I mentioned at the start, I've done 2 work events, so I've been away for 2 craft shows, and we've also had our agricultural show here that Alexis and I enter every year, and the month has gone. Like, I believe Halloween is next Thursday. I'm doing this voiceover on a Saturday. I don't even know what day of the week it is. We're out late last night watching fireworks at our agricultural show. So yes, Halloween's in like 5 days, and I have not done a lot of the projects I thought I would be getting done. Next year, 2020, doesn't that sound scary, is going to be organised. I'm going to get organised and maybe ahead with my videos. Maybe. So I was determined to get something up for Halloween this year. I have got time later tonight to play, and then I have to do paperwork all tomorrow. I've got so much paperwork to do, and sorting out of paperwork's not fun. So just applying the oxides and sort of putting a darker edge around the edge, and then splattering with water. I do find the splats with water are more prominent and stand out when you do put the gesso underneath. And it doesn't have to be the white gesso. I like the Montmartre white gesso, but I've been playing a lot with clear gesso, which is great to have in your arsenal of scrapbooks and supplies. So say, for example, I laid down book text and then I wanted to put the oxides on top. I could then use the clear gesso as well. And the clear one seems to be a little less plasticky. This Montmartre one is a little plasticky if you put it on a bit too thick. So just applying the oxides with the blending brushes and going over and over and over it, and sprinkling some more water. Just sort of till I'm happy with the background. I'm not the best at blending with oxides. I'm still learning. Not really my forte. I was umming and ahhing whether to get them, because I do have a set of distress inks. Well, not every colour. For the last few years for my business, for the big event I do in August, I would get something in to play on a make and take table. with my chipboard and stencils or something like that. So I did distress inks for a couple of years, and I'd get in like 9 colours, and the ones we'd open I would use. And then I went to Oxides when the Oxides come out. Wasn't completely sold on them until we started playing on black, but I do like them. I think I just need more time with them. I think I have a lot of art supplies that I just need to spend more time with them, more time experimenting. So now I decided to glue my die cuts down with some, I believe that's matte Mod Podge, or you could use matte gel medium. I believe, I didn't look at that jar when it came in, but I believe that one looks like the matte Mod Podge. So just putting a layer down underneath, just being very careful because the oxides are water reactive. If I sort of put too much matte gel medium down or Mod Podge, I can sort of reactivate the colours and move them around. So just being fairly gentle and just wrapping a bit of that foliage around the edge. I love to incorporate the edges of my canvases when I do canvases as well, so it just doesn't look flat on the top. So if you're fairly quick and fairly liberal with the matte gel medium, it doesn't tend to pick up the oxides, and I did make sure they were fairly dry before I started putting them on. What I do after I finish sticking all my die cuts on, I do fill in any areas that don't have die cuts and don't have the matte Mod Podge on them, just because even though it's matte, it's a little shiny, so I didn't want part of the canvas to be the raw oxides and part to have this shininess on them. So I do go over, you can see me doing that top right hand corner, I do go over that, just so the entire canvas is sealed and sort of the one look, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I often do that with my art journal page as well. Even though it says matte gel medium or matte Mod Podge, it's still, yeah, a little shiny. Unless I go and buy the expensive ones, which is Liquitex, and I only treat myself to those when they're on like 40% off. So this is a bit milky white over the black die cuts, but a good blast with the heat tool or let them naturally dry and it will go back to being black. So you get quite a striking result with the black die cuts and the colours in the background, and that's sort of the look I was going for. So quite happy with how these canvases come out, and I believe I won a prize at the show last year with them too. I can't remember what prize I won. So just going through and doing basically the same thing with the next one, just using the different colours, and I believe I'm using, I can't read my colours, could be carved pumpkin. The other one I think is the honey, wild honey. It's a lime greeny one. I've got the purple one, which is seedless preserves, I believe, black soot, and I can't think of what that light green one is, and I can't read the colours on the screen. But certainly, if you're really desperate to find out, I will go and find out. I can't think of what that green one is. No. As I said, I don't have the complete set of how many they are. I do want to get some of the spray oxides that have come out as well and have a bit of a play, because I think they will react really well with the ink pads. But of course, my credit card and my bank balance says, no, you've got enough supplies to play with, Melinda. You should be using what you have. But my heart goes, no, Melinda, you just need all that new stuff. I'm sure we all have that argument with our head and our heart when it comes to art supplies. At the moment, I'm trying to use up a lot of my older paints in my art journal by just laying down paint colours, so I can purchase some of those new Dina Weekly ones I have my eye on, and I've had my eye on for a little while. One day. The thing I like about the oxides is they do layer up very nicely. With the translucent, his first inks, they make great backgrounds, but because they're translucent, it's hard to layer colour on top of colour on top of colour and get like a really dark, deep, like lots of layering. But that's what the oxides are more opaque in their finish, so they look really, really cool. I love the bubbles on the cauldron. That's really cool. And I think the bunnies are waking up and going to make some noise in a minute. We have 2 little bunnies, and one is just mischievous and just a monster. And it's clawing at the cardboard box. I can see it behind me. Yep, didn't get through the video without the monster being a monster. That's terrible, isn't it? I love this witch die cut too. She's really cute. She'd be good to die cut in different colours and paper pierce her as well. I don't play with my die cuts as much as I should. I tend to use them in my art journal. Traditionally, I'm not a card maker or a small craft person, so these canvases are a bit of a struggle for me to sort of put together, because I think I tend try to throw too much stuff on them and have too bigger items, and I don't know, I don't feel comfortable in little things. Give me a big art journal page or a huge canvas and I'm happy. Give me a little thing and it tends to cause me a lot of stress. Art's supposed to be relieving stress, but if you give me something small, especially a card, and ATCs, don't even go there. I've tried ATCs in the past and I don't know, just not comfortable. As I said, I think I try to throw too much on them. So back on track, just adding all the die cuts. So once I've got an idea of where I wanted them to go, I did put a dark edge around each of the canvases just to give it a border. I was thinking about only doing it to the outer edge of the 3 canvases and not doing the dark edge on the middle, but it did look a little funny. So I decided to edge each of the 3 canvases, so they're sort of individual, but they are a set of 3 as well if you display them together. This one's my favourite with the house, and tried to put a lot of like yellow behind the house so it comes through the windows. That'd be a great one to fussy cut and stick. Or not to fussy cut, to paper pierce and stick the little windows in yellow. So just try to make sort of grass along the bottom and turn it into a scene. And there goes my attempt at a moon, so my bat's going to fly through the moon. It's what those great round blending tools are all about. I tried with the square ones and I just had so many issues trying to not get those hard lines. I still get a bit heavy-handed with the round ones, but it is a bit better. I do have the square one somewhere in my stash. Trying to organise my stash as well so I can find things. I'm sick of spending time looking at things. So if everything has its home, everything should go back in its home, and then when I go to find it again, it should be there. Maybe. I think that might be a bit too organised for myself. I tend to clean off my craft table because at the moment I don't have a dedicated one, and just put stuff anywhere to have dinner, to do something else, do a jigsaw puzzle or whatever, play a game with Alexis. So if I actually had spots in my room on my bookshelf to stick all my supplies, when I clean them off, I'd have spots for them to go back in. So just adding some ink to the sides just to carry on the colour around the edges. So as I said, this one's my favourite. It's quite repetitive. So yeah, that is matte Mod Podge I'm using. I just saw the front of the container. But I thought I'd leave all this footage in. And hello, it's not a voiceover on my channel unless I yawn. I shouldn't be tired, it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I had to sleep in today because we're up late last night. I love the moon and the bats, it's really cool as well. So I shouldn't be tired. I don't know, it's something about doing a voiceover just makes me yawn. And I've even got water next to me as well. I don't know. I love those cool little bats. I must get a fine glue pen so I don't have to always use the matte Mod Podge to go over with the glue. Because I've got quite fine die cuts now. I just got some new Halloween ones for this year, but I haven't, I was waiting on my stamps to arrive. I ordered some stamps and some Halloween dies, and my stamps haven't come, and I ordered them at the start of September. So I thought they would arrive by now, but no. Hopefully next week. You watch, they'll arrive on the 1st of November. But I still might have a play with them and stamp them out and have a bit of fun. You can do Halloween crafts after Halloween, or we could start Halloween crafts in January, then I might get it done. I do have the next, I have one event left in November, and then I have sort of December, January off. I think I have, I have one event in February as well, to do. And then our show season starts again in March, so we are going to be busy next year. So maybe, if I'm good, I can play with some stuff and get some videos ahead and scheduled for you guys, because I do apologise, I have been lacking a few videos in the last couple of months. It's just life's got hectic and I've got videos there to edit and I just haven't got time to edit them. Maybe I should take my laptop when I go away for work and sit in the motel room at night and edit videos. The last show I did actually took my scrapbooking, and I had entered a couple of scrapbook layouts for our agricultural show and sat there at night and scrapbooked, which was really cool. Because at home I often don't get time to do stuff because I'm just busy doing other stuff. Busy being a mum, busy being a working mum. It's fun. So just looking on that canvas to see if there's any other little bits I want to add on before I end up finishing my matte Mod Podge. I do give you a bit of a close-up look, and I do apologise there's no close-up photos at the end because, as I said, I cannot quite locate where I put these canvases. I hence why I have to organise my art space and art room. And there's my head popping in the frame. So just sort of looking at them to see if I want to add any colour. There's no reason why I can't add colour over the top of the matte Mod Podge. The oxides tend to go over the top if I wanted to add a bit of colour or correct a bit of colour, but I'm quite happy with how they turned out. Something different, quite basic, like colour in the background and die cuts over the top, but sometimes the more basic stuff looks really cool, and I don't know what I went off to do then. So this one, just adding the black over the top, and this is going over the top of the matte Mod Podge. And here comes the rain. Seriously, if it's not the rain, it's the bunnies. If it's not, it's the child. Can I not get 10 minutes of, or 15 minutes of uninterrupted time? Okay, it's more like 20 minutes. So I do pick them up and show them to you closer. So what I also did is, because I put the oxide on top of the matte Mod Podge, the border, I went and put a quick layer of matte Mod Podge over the top. So it looked funny, and you won't tell in the video, but in real life it looked funny because the shine on the matte Mod Podge was not on the edge. And it also seals it as well, so if you're hanging them up on the wall, they're quite easy to clean. So just drying that off, and then I do bring them a bit closer so you can have a look. Sorry, it's a quite quick look. I forgot I sped the video up. But they do look quite cute all in a row. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again. Have a happy Halloween if I don't talk to you beforehand. Bye for now. Now I'm just deciding what order I want them to go in.